Hello everyone, this is James Shore with another test-driven JavaScript video. I'm recording this on April 9th, 2013, picking up right where we left off in the last episode. What happened in the last episode is, well, we were trying to get Node static integrated into our little Node.js web server. In this chapter, what we're trying to do is get rid of our original Node.js code, which was really just a placeholder to allow us to learn about Node and to get our first MMF up and running. And we wanted to replace it with a real static file server, something that somebody else had written so that we wouldn't have to go to all that work ourselves. There's a lot to be done when you're serving static files, and we weren't handling half of it. Unfortunately, it didn't work. Specifically, Node Static has an in-memory file store. And that seems like a good idea, right? Well, caching is always fraught with danger. And so it's actually a good idea to avoid caching unless you have a proven performance need. And in this case, what was happening was that some of our tests use this as a homepage file, and some of our tests use foo. And when we run our tests, that cache causes Node Static to get all kinds of confused and report a different length response than the actual response it gives back, which leads to the lovely error message. And I am being sarcastic here, the nasty, disgusting, terrible error message of death that tells us nothing about what's really going on. A little frustrated here, can you tell? Of parse error, which is completely unhelpful and leads to me spending an hour or two trying to figure it out, hypothetically. Anyway, now this shouldn't be a problem because node-static.server is an object. You construct the file server, and we do that, and then we throw it away when we're done with the test. So everything should be fine, right? No. Compounding the file caching, which, you could see how that might be a good idea, that's scoped to the module. So every single instance of your server is going to have the same in-memory file store, and that's what causes problems. So over the break, I did a whole bunch of stuff. I looked at another approach to use Send, which is the streaming file support that Connect uses. It's a really nice little module. It's really nicely encapsulated. It doesn't have any caching. It's simple and straightforward, and I like it. The only problem is it doesn't support serving just a single file. And eventually, we don't want to serve just a single file, but for now, that would be kind of handy. So, yeah, it's something that we might want to do. Send is something we might want to do in the future, but I want to try to get incrementally closer to what we need. I think we can solve this by doing something a little bit nasty, and that is by going in and just fixing static file or node static. So I'm going to go into node static and I'm going to open up our file, and I'm just going to move this in-memory file store where it belongs, which is here. It should be done on an object by object basis. And then we'll go through and we'll find every case where it's used. And we'll just fix it. And hopefully this will work. It exports those values, but that's no good. You can't delete them because you'll be deleting this variable and not the one it actually uses. So there's no point in exporting it. It gives you access to the store, but it doesn't give you the ability to clear the store. So let's see, does that work? All right, that didn't quite work, but I'm guessing it's just an issue with our store dereferencing. Probably a scoping issue. Let's see. We're going to be on line 241. Yeah, this dot store is happening inside of a function, so this is not accessible. So we'll use that, which is how this author likes to do things, and assign it here. And there we go. It seems to be working. Our smoke test is not working, but that is simply because we're using our content dir on our 404. And there we go. So what I've done is I've modified node static to only cache within the server. Now, I don't like doing this. I don't like modifying the third-party library in line like this, because when somebody upgrades this in the future, it will blow away that change, and that will really be confusing. But I think we can do this as a stopgap. Let me put a to-do here, though, which is we need to either replace node static or submit our change as a patch, or come up with some better way of dealing with node static's caching. But as I said, that will do for now. We've got our tests working again. One of the things that makes this so irritating is that it's not documented. Even send, the alternative I'm thinking about, isn't documented well at all. And so you have to dig through the source files. It's really, I don't know. People love using third-party code, but unless there's a really big benefit to it, I find it to be an incredible hassle because it's always poorly documented. It never works the way you think it's going to. It's always hard to get the pieces what you actually need to work exactly the way you need them to. I just find it frustrating. And so I tend to only use it when there's a problem that I can't solve myself in a reasonable amount of time. Okay, let's see. I'm just taking out all the debug statements that I put in here. Okay. Got it working by fixing the caching bug. Now it's possible I've misunderstood it. That's actually, though, another problem with third-party libraries. They're poorly documented, and even when they're well documented, it's hard to understand exactly how they're meant to be used. Anyway, I know we've got to use third-party libraries. I just find them so frustrating. Okay, deep breath. Let's get this puppy working. Okay, so we've got it serving a file. Now what I want to do is no longer serve a file, but instead serve the entire directory. And I think the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to comment out the 404 test for now, because that works specially. And, well, maybe I won't do that. Yeah, I won't do that. And I think what I want to do is I want to migrate this over to using the actual node static API of serving the entire directory. So the way we do that, say file server serve. And this won't handle 404s the way we want it to. Yeah. But everything else is working properly. So we need to handle the case of the 404, which we can do this way. So that will give us an error back. If there's an error and the error status is 404, then we will serve our not found file. Otherwise, we will, I think, just throw an exception for now. And that will cause our server to crash, but making this server robust is a problem for another day. Okay, that's working. Let's clean this up. Don't need this. Don't need this anymore. Okay, so we've got node static working at the cost of having to work around its caching. So what I'm thinking of doing next is, instead of using node static, using serve. And I think that's going to be more straightforward. I think we can just take this and migrate it over to the send approach. But I'm going to stop for a moment and take a peek at that and see if I can figure it out, and then we'll do it on camera. So back in a moment. Okay, I'm back. It looks pretty straightforward. I think we can just steal this code directly. But looking at the time, we're pretty close to the end of this episode, so I think that's what we'll pick up with next time. So what we've done this episode is we've tweaked node static and gotten it to work. The problem with that is that it required us to edit node static directly and work around its caching. And I don't like having that left in there. So I think next time we will migrate to send. So that's what we'll pick up with next time. Thanks for watching, everybody. I will catch you next time.